I'm Pat Doris. Welcome to The Story and happy Juneteenth. I hope you enjoyed this day and had a nice time. We'll dig into the history of this holiday in just a little bit, but first let's talk about money and priorities for Oregon's most populated county, Multnomah County. I recently got the chance to talk one-on-one with the new county chair, and that's our big story tonight. You should care about the priorities of Jessica Vega Pederson, even if you do not live in Multnomah County. As the board chair of the County Commission, she is in a powerful position to influence policy, set agendas, and set budgets. Multnomah County has an outsized influence on the rest of Oregon and Southwest Washington because of its population, about 803,000 people, and its economic power. The county recently passed its first budget under Vega Pederson. It's big, $3.5 billion. I had a chance to sit down and talk one-on-one with the new chair about the budget and our homeless problem. I don't cover the county all that much, and I learned something right off the bat. She explained to me that the county and the city have split the workload on community issues. She says the county provides a lot of the social safety net. The city of Portland handles things like economic development and water and sewer systems. In 33 years, I'd never heard it explained that way. So that's why the county is immersed in so many social services, from the health department to the Joint Office of Homeless Services and more. And speaking of that office, the Joint Office this year will have a budget of $280 million. That is a lot of money. And over the last 7 years, taxpayers have spent more than $1 billion through that office on the homeless issue. And it seems things are as bad as ever. And that seems like a good place to start our discussion. What are you going to do to solve our homeless issue?
Yeah, I think the most important thing with the homeless crisis that we have right now is to make sure that we are all working together and we are working with all cylinders firing in order to address this issue, right? And I will say that I don't believe that that is something that's been happening before. And so when I came in here as the new chair, it was important to me that we do have that partnership, we do have the collaboration, within the county as we're functioning as like a one county, as we're talking to the city and really engaging with them in terms of how we need to be working together to solve this problem. And that goes similarly with our other Multnomah County cities, with Metro and with the state as well. So I think that is the priority that I had coming in, and that's what you see reflected in the budget and the decisions that we made there.
And $265 million, I think, going to the Joint Office of Homeless. Yeah,
there's $280 million that goes to the homeless, to the Joint Office of Homeless Services. And that is made up of dollars from county general funds, city general funds, the Supportive Housing Services measure. We have some state funds that are in there. So it's a real combination of all of those things. So I think our task in front of us this year is to make sure that we are investing in the right programs, the right infrastructure, the right investments in our providers to get those dollars out into the community, helping the people who need it the most.
Is there anything that will be different this year that will be more effective? Because we're spending all this money and we still see the problem grow.
We have all this money. I think we need to do a better job of actually spending it. And I think we need to be investing it wisely in the places where we know it can make the biggest difference. So I think in talking with providers, they've really highlighted strongly that we need to have more investment in wages for the people who are doing this frontline work. And that's absolutely true. And so we've made that commitment in my budget. We're also looking at some of the underspent Supportive Housing Service measure dollars and how we can adjust that and work with some of our philanthropic partners to get that set of money out the door to help providers, and they could use it for wages, they could use it for technical assistance, they could use it for benefits, but really to make sure that we are looking at that obstacle.
Okay, but I can just hear some viewers screaming at their TV right now saying the money is for the people who are on the streets, to get them off the streets, that it's not for the homeless industrial complex.
Oh, well, people who are living unsheltered outside, who are experiencing, incredibly tough conditions, who are oftentimes have substance use disorder or mental health issues, sure, right? They need that help getting connected to services. They need that help getting connected to housing. And that's exactly what our providers are out there doing. But it's hard. It's been really hard to staff up, just like we talked about, challenges in our health field. It's the same thing. When somebody can get a warehouse job at Amazon and make more money than they can doing outreach to people who are living outside, that's a problem. So we want to make sure that we're valuing the work that's happening.
The chair, by the way, set aside $1.5 million in the new budget. It's intended to go to nonprofits so they can pay their outreach workers more. I asked how much the workers are now earning on average, and I was told by the county they don't have those numbers, which then made me wonder how they know they need to be paid more if they don't know how much they're currently paid. A spokesperson said a 3% cost of living increase was applied to each contract to cover wages and the increased costs of doing business under high inflation. And then I was curious about that Amazon comparison. So I checked online and found this from ZipRecruiter as of June 12th of this year. The average pay in Portland for an Amazon warehouse job is $18.21 an hour. Another posting on ZipRecruiter shows the Salvation Army is offering $25 an hour for homeless outreach. Catholic Charities paying $19 an hour for outreach, and the Portland Rescue Mission is offering $20.50 to start as an outreach worker. So, saying that starting at Amazon in the warehouse you can make more than an outreach worker, it's a great line, but it's a bit of a stretch. At the same time, the Portland Business Alliance did send a letter recently to the chairs of Multnomah, Washington, and Clackamas counties declaring that low wages for nonprofit workers is a big problem and that it's slowing the work on the homeless front. So there's that. It was signed by 64 different organizations. Now, while we're talking about homelessness, I asked about the criticism from board member Sharon Myron, who ran against Vega Pederson for board chair and lost. Myron told me that there is no overall plan for attacking homelessness, little accountability, and little coordination. The new chair said there is indeed a plan, and she's working to make it better.
This was a huge priority for me. So one of the things that I did in coming in, and this was also in response to just recognizing that there was serious underspending that was happening in terms of getting these dollars out the door, was to engage for the joint office with some national leaders and looking at systems to come in and look at how are things set up internally at the joint office, how are things set up with our relationship with the partners and the work that's happening outside, and come up within 90 days for a plan of action that really provides all those details. So we have engaged with James Schroeder and Healthcare Management Associates to do this work. They've already started on the first phase where they're talking to folks in the joint office and our provider community to really get that feedback. And then, like I said, in 90 days, they're going to come up with that plan of action to really what we need to be doing to reduce these obstacles, to set up the system that we need so that we can go forward and meet those goals that everybody wants us to and get the impacts that everybody wants to see.
Yeah. Do you think there needs to be like a homeless czar? Some person in charge of everything that can hold people accountable?
Well, that's Dan Field, right? Dan Field is now the new director of the Joint Office of Homeless Services. And really, the Joint Office was set up to be that place so that it wasn't just things that are happening in a silo, but that it could be done in cooperation and coordination with the city of Portland and their needs, as well as Multnomah County. And because now we have the dollars from the SHS measure, it's also going to be done in conjunction with Metro, right? So this is really the nexus, and his position is really the nexus of making sure that all of these investments that are taking place are being done smartly, that are being done efficiently, and that they're being done with accountability and transparency.
Okay, and I just have a simple mind, so maybe this won't even be possible, but I'm thinking, and I've heard wonderful things about him, but it's not like he can go fire somebody in the city who's not carrying out their duties, right? Or even somebody in the county or somebody in the nonprofit world. And if there was a homeless czar, as I'm imagining it in my brain, that would be somebody who could be accountable and, really enforce the accountability.
I don't know if people would say, you person over here has the right to come into my organization and fire somebody, right? Whatever. But that's why it's important to have that collaboration with our partners, right? So, and I will say that Dan Field, reports to me, but his hiring was done in partnership with Mayor Wheeler. We just had a meeting this Monday with me and the mayor, and talking to Dan. So we're doing a lot of things in partnership around that because we know people need to be accountable. We know we need to have the city performing in, developing the housing that we need and building those the housing so that we can use the long-term rental assistance to get people stabilized into housing, right? We need to be working together on all of these things. So that partnership and that kind of work is happening.
Thanks to Jessica Vega Pederson for taking the time to sit down with me. I enjoyed our conversation. So what do you think about the county chair's thoughts on what's ahead here in Multnomah County? Send us an email, will you? The address is thestory@kgw.com, or you can call and leave a voicemail 503-226-5090. I look forward to hearing from you.